This United Data?
Fuck back the way you came.
3. There. Scamming the weakest in our society?
Please, just have to sign in.
The company's in the building to evacuate.
I'll have to call you
Everyone, me. I will never...
Start the download and find out what's going on with it.
Keep that promise. Might be a good time to go home.
Hey!
To protect the high.
Our operation, asshole. Will you... Get him.
I don't care if your friends here live or die. Make a spark across these wires.
Guy, we might want to dip out. Happy boy! We can talk about this. We can fix it. I'm so sorry, Mr. Not crying. I'm out my right hand. Fucking beak.
What's he saying about bees?
Oh, you want? I got fuck. You're fucking.
That's who. You don't burn me down, I burn you down.
I bet you don't have a state for you. I'm assuming you're my
My federal friend, power down. Feel free to... Boys, let's go!
Same deal.
Station name.
An operation progress. Move.
Instead of going in, put it through enough already. Who's it? I don't want to injure anyone.
Bye-bye, Admiral. Go join. Bye-bye, Dick.
Investing no 2 weeks.
Not a million yet.
These assholes? Let's start with this prick right here.
Pattis, we got a man down. None of my fucking business. You are our problem.
Our guy? What do we...
Done.
He's just a beekeeper. Waiting.
Me.
Come on.
You're done.
Away. Command, report back. Anybody got calls?
I'd respect you. Now you kill me.
Yeah, well.
You've stolen hundreds of millions. He's the only person who ever took care of me. Anzalone.
I will.
I told you.
Me.
Don't do a plate glass window!
Poor girl.
Oh, shit. You got caught right
Do it all right now?
Some, of course. Speak to him.
Who's this? There's something that feels weird. I don't like it.
No, you'll step outside. Comfortable things happening inside the...
So with,
How
about
Yeah, that was, that's more of like...
intelligence community?
He's here.
All team, set! Get him!
He's outside.
Ace!
What the hell?
What are you doing? He's not him.
Nice crowd. Or not to be.
Get off me! Huh? You weapons free!
An imperfect but functioning system. I was pretty rich. Your father built a public service because I care and I want...
Party. You pay software to hunt money. You know that.
Yeah, I know it.
Whatever, it's computer. The wolves? What does that even mean?
Guy who's coming to kill us, and if it costs me...
Eloise Parker, a kind, retired teacher, falls victim to a sophisticated phishing scam, losing her life savings and tragically taking her own life. Her unassuming neighbor, Adam Clay, a former elite operative from a clandestine organization known as the Beekeepers, unleashes a relentless, brutal campaign of vengeance against the shadowy syndicate responsible, tearing through layers of corrupt power from street-level fraudsters to the highest echelons of government.
Truth because it's the truth.
Beekeepers live
Personal.
making honey. I'm sorry, but do you live in?
Doesn't.
Well, what?
I believe there's good in you. Till the Danforth family bought you. Like you.
I can't do that.
Nah, the truth, man. Truth.
Wait. You put that down.
That's fucking real right there.
Wait!
Drop the weapon! Drop it!
Hey guys, today we are diving headfirst into a movie that understands the universal frustration of getting scammed and then dials it up to 11, dousing it in gasoline and setting it ablaze with a very specific set of skills. We're talking about the 2024 action thriller The Beekeeper, a film that proves you really shouldn't mess with someone's honey or their sweet old neighbor. This one's an absolute riot of a revenge fantasy, filled with enough explosions and bone-crunching fisticuffs to make you want to sign up for self-defense classes immediately, or at least double-check your spam folder. I put a lot of work into these, so if you like what you see, a like and a subscribe is always appreciated. No worries if not. Our story kicks off in what appears to be a tranquil, almost idyllic corner of Massachusetts, where we meet Adam Clay. He's a man of quiet solitude, living in a rustic, worn-around-the-edges barn, his days filled with the gentle hum of bees. He moves with a calm, deliberate grace. His hands, though scarred and weathered, are surprisingly deft as he tends to his hives, the golden sunlight filtering through the open barn doors, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. The air itself seems thick with the scent of pollen and a faint, sweet aroma of honey. He's the kind of guy who probably has a secret garden and offers unsolicited gardening tips, but in the nicest possible way. His only real interaction seems to be with Eloise Parker, his elderly landlady and a former teacher, a sweet, kindly woman with a warm smile and a slight tremor in her hands. She brings him freshly baked goods, a simple gesture of neighborly affection that seems to be the only thread connecting Clay to the ordinary world. The clinking of her teacup as she sets it down, the rustle of her dress, the soft cadence of her voice, these are the sounds of his peaceful existence. Then the calm shatters. Eloise, in a moment of vulnerability, clicks on a pop-up, a seemingly innocuous link that promises to fix a non-existent computer virus. We've all been there, right? Except for Eloise, this isn't just a minor annoyance. It's the beginning of a nightmare. The insidious voice on the phone, calm and professional, walks her through the steps, slowly, deliberately, draining her entire life savings, a whopping $2 million from her accounts in mere minutes. The quiet whir of her old computer, the click of the mouse, the escalating tension in the voice of the scammer on the other end, it all builds to a devastating crescendo. She sits there, numb, the screen glowing with the stark reality of her empty bank accounts, her life's work, her retirement, all gone. The phone drops from her trembling hand, clattering against the wooden floorboards with a dull, hollow thud.
The next morning, Clay finds her. He walks into her house, drawn by a sense of unease when she doesn't bring him his usual morning coffee. The front door is slightly ajar, a small, almost imperceptible creak as he pushes it open further. The house is eerily silent, devoid of the usual sounds of life. He calls her name, his voice a low, steady rumble that gets no reply. He finds her slumped over, a revolver still clutched in her hand, a single, devastating shot having ended her despair. The suffocating silence of the room is broken only by the distant chirping of birds, a cruel contrast to the tragedy within. A note lies beside her, scrawled hastily, filled with apologies and the desperate explanation of what had happened. It's a gut-punch moment, the kind that makes you want to reach through the screen and give the bad guys a stern talking to, possibly with a rusty wrench. And just like that, the gentle beekeeper evaporates. In his place emerges a ghost, a legend whispered about in the shadows. Adam Clay, as we quickly learn, isn't just some guy who likes bees. He's a former beekeeper, a member of a highly clandestine, extra-legal organization whose sole purpose is to maintain the balance of the world by eliminating threats that operate outside the law, a sort of hyper-competent, utterly ruthless, secret society of cosmic exterminators. He reads Eloise's note, his eyes hardening, his jaw clenching. The transformation is chillingly swift. The quiet man is gone, replaced by an unstoppable force of nature, a precise instrument of vengeance. He doesn't mourn, he acts. His first move is to call the Beekeeper hotline, a ridiculously analog red rotary phone in his barn. A deep, disembodied voice on the other end delivers a cryptic message. Beekeeper protocol initiated. This isn't just personal revenge, it's professional. Clay begins his meticulous hunt, tracking the digital breadcrumbs left by the scammers. His target, a call center operating out of an abandoned building, run by a smarmy, self-satisfied prick named Mickey Garnett. The exterior is derelict, windows shattered, graffiti splattered across the brickwork. But inside, it's a hive of activity, a vibrant, if morally bankrupt, den of young scammers, phones pressed to their ears, their voices smooth and deceitful. The air inside is a cacophony of hushed conversations, the clickety-clack of keyboards, and the insidious whispers of financial ruin. Clay infiltrates the building with effortless precision. He moves like a shadow, a whisper of air. The first guards he encounters don't even see him coming. A quick, brutal strike to the throat, a snapping sound like dry kindling, and another guard crumples silently to the floor. The metallic thwack of a security camera being disabled, the soft shush of a door opening. He's a whirlwind of calculated violence. He breaches the server room, his fingers flying across a keyboard, tracing the digital footprints of the scam. The whirring of the servers is a constant drone, a digital heartbeat to the operation. Then, the real fun begins. Clay confronts Mickey Garnett, who, upon realizing his operation is compromised, tries to escape. This isn't a subtle cat-and-mouse game, it's a declaration of war. Clay corners him, a silent, menacing figure in the dimly lit hallway. Garnett, sweating profusely, babbles nervously, his voice cracking. Clay's hand lashes out, a sharp, precise strike to Garnett's kneecap. A sickening crack echoes in the deserted corridor, followed by a choked gasp of agony. Garnett collapses, screaming, his desperate pleas dying in his throat as Clay's grip tightens on his arm. Clay is not interested in explanations, he's interested in information. He wants names, locations, the next rung on the ladder. The interrogation is swift and excruciating, punctuated by muffled grunts and whimpers, the only sounds breaking the silence of the abandoned building. It's brutal efficiency, a masterclass in making someone regret their life choices. The building is evacuated, alarms blaring, but Clay has what he needs. He sets a series of charges, the soft click of the timers being set, almost swallowed by the rising sirens in the distance. He walks out, a figure of serene calm amidst the chaos, just as the building erupts in a massive fireball. The ground trembles, a deep thump reverberating through the air, followed by the roar of the explosion. Glass raining down like glittering shards of ice, and the angry orange glow of the flames licking at the night sky. Enter Verona Parker, Eloise's daughter, an FBI agent, who arrives on the scene to find her mother's killer has already been avenged, albeit in a spectacularly unauthorized fashion. The wreckage of the call center is still smoking, a pungent odor of burnt electronics and charred materials hanging heavy in the air. She's a sharp, determined woman, dressed in a practical suit, her expression a mix of professional duty and personal anguish. The initial grief for her mother slowly morphs into a fierce determination to understand who Clay is and why he took such extreme measures. She finds evidence of Clay's work, a data drive, hinting at the larger network. The official channels move too slowly for her, bogged down by bureaucracy and paperwork, the slow rustle of official documents a frustrating contrast to the explosive efficiency she's just witnessed.
Clay, meanwhile, is already on to the next target. He uses the information extracted from Garnett to trace the operation to a massive data farm, a fortress-like facility humming with hundreds of servers, protected by an army of heavily armed security personnel. This isn't just a building, it's a digital nerve center, a labyrinth of blinking lights and whirring fans. The air inside is cool, sterile, smelling faintly of ozone. He approaches under the cover of darkness, the only sound the soft crunch of his boots on the gravel. He's a ghost in the night, moving with impossible stealth.
The outer perimeter is a maze of laser grids and motion sensors, which he disarms with practiced ease, the faint hiss of compressed air as a laser field goes dark. He takes down the first few guards with quiet efficiency, a swift chokehold here, a broken neck there, the dull thud of bodies hitting the ground. These guards are well trained, but they're not beekeepers. Inside, the facility is a hive of activity, though not the productive kind. Clay navigates the maze of server racks, the rhythmic thrum of the machinery a constant backdrop to his deadly ballet. He encounters more guards, each encounter a brutal, precise dance of punches, kicks, and environmental weaponization. A guard lunges, a muffled grunt escaping his lips as Clay uses his momentum against him, slamming his head against a server rack with a sharp clunk. Another guard fires, the crack of the gunshot deafening in the enclosed space, but Clay is already moving, a blur of motion, disarming the man with a swift twist, the metallic clatter of the firearm hitting the floor. He uses a fire extinguisher as a bludgeon, the whoosh of its contents as it discharges, momentarily blinding an attacker before a final, decisive strike. It's a beautifully choreographed sequence of mayhem, each movement economical and lethal. He reaches the main server, a central hub of encrypted data. His fingers fly across the interface, his face illuminated by the green glow of the screen, downloading the entire network's information. The rhythmic beep-boop of data transfer is a counterpoint to the distant shouts of security, growing closer. He sets his final charges, small, unassuming packages with the familiar click of the timers. As he makes his exit, the data farm erupts, a chain reaction of explosions ripping through the building, tearing through the metal and glass. The sky lights up with a blinding flash, followed by a deafening boom that vibrates through the very ground. He simply walks away, the inferno reflected in his unblinking eyes, leaving behind a smoking crater and a severely disrupted criminal enterprise.
Verona, following Clay's trail, finds herself increasingly isolated within the FBI. Her superiors, led by her own boss, Agent Matt Wiley, are wary of her personal connection to the case and the escalating body count. They want him apprehended, alive, by the book. But Verona sees the patterns, the meticulous planning, the surgical precision of Clay's attacks. She realizes he's not just a rogue vigilante, he's part of something much bigger, something that operates on a different plane of existence than the bureaucratic world she inhabits. The constant ping of her phone with official alerts, the dry, authoritative tone of her boss's voice, all contribute to her growing frustration. The data acquired from the server farm leads Clay to Wallace Westwild, a high-powered corporate lawyer, the kind of guy who probably uses synergy and leveraging assets in casual conversation. Westwild operates from a swanky, minimalist office in a skyscraper, all glass and polished steel, with panoramic views of the city. The air is cool, sterile, smelling faintly of expensive cologne and fear. He's the legal shield, the architect of the shell corporations and the money laundering schemes that protect the scam. Clay makes his entry, bypassing layers of security with ridiculous ease. The swish of the expensive glass doors closing behind him, the hushed ambiance of the executive floor. Westwild is on a conference call, his voice a smooth, cultured purr, when Clay appears in his doorway, a silent, imposing figure. The lawyer's eyes widen, his face draining of color, the small, almost imperceptible tremor in his hand as he sets down the phone, the soft clink of the receiver against the desk. Westwild, initially arrogant and dismissive, quickly realizes the gravity of his situation when Clay demonstrates his particular brand of persuasion. A quick, decisive punch to the gut, the sharp whoosh of air leaving Westwild's lungs, followed by a low moan. Clay doesn't raise his voice. His tone is calm, almost conversational, but his actions are brutal. He dismantles the lawyer's composure piece by piece, not with threats, but with the cold, hard reality of impending pain. He wants to know who is above Westwild.
The desperate pleas, the stuttering confessions, the rustle of Westwild fumbling for files. Clay gets the information he needs. He leaves Westwild tied up, disoriented, and significantly less interested in corporate law, his expensive suit rumpled, a faint gurgle escaping his lips as he tries to speak.
Verona arrives shortly after, just missing Clay. She finds Westwild in a state of utter shock, muttering about a ghost, a legend. She pieces together more of the puzzle, discovering the layers of corporate fraud and the sheer scale of the operation, reaching into legitimate businesses and political circles. The quiet tap-tap of her fingers on her tablet, the low murmur of her conversations with other agents, all confirm her growing suspicions that this rabbit hole goes much deeper than anyone expected. Clay's next target is Janet Cho, the tech CEO whose company provides the software and infrastructure for the scam operations. She's a formidable woman, impeccably dressed, cold, and calculating, operating from a state-of-the-art penthouse office in a gleaming skyscraper. The security around her is intense, a mix of armed guards and advanced surveillance systems. Clay approaches, not by land, but by air, scaling the side of the skyscraper with specialized climbing gear. The wind whips around him, a constant whoosh in his ears, the distant city sounds a muffled hum below. Each thump of his climbing axe finding purchase, each creak of the rope as he ascends, is a testament to his sheer physical prowess. He uses the building's maintenance platforms, the groan of metal as they shift, to gain access. Once inside, it's a vertical gauntlet. He encounters highly trained security forces, not just thugs, but former special operations personnel. The hallways are sleek, minimalist, but quickly become battlegrounds. A guard lunges from around a corner, the swish of his tactical vest preceding him, but Clay is faster, twisting, delivering a crushing elbow to the face, the wet thwack echoing in the pristine corridor. Another guard opens fire, the sharp crack-crack-crack of automatic gunfire reverberating, but Clay uses the environment to his advantage, smashing through a glass display case with a loud crash, showering shards of glass before he lunges, disarming and neutralizing his opponent with brutal efficiency, the faint shing of a knife being drawn, then sheathed.
He reaches Cho's office, the heavy door whooshing open automatically. Cho, surprisingly calm, is on the phone, her voice cold and imperious. She looks up, a flicker of fear in her eyes, but it's quickly masked by disdain. She's not accustomed to being challenged, let alone having her office invaded by a man who looks like he just climbed out of a ventilation shaft. Clay, however, is not impressed by her power suits or her corporate bravado. He wants to know who she reports to. Who pulls her strings? The ensuing interrogation is swift, punctuated by the metallic clink of Cho's expensive watch hitting the desk as Clay demonstrates his resolve. She quickly breaks, revealing the name at the very top of the food chain, Derek Danforth, the spoiled, entitled son of a former CIA director. That's quite the leap from phishing scams, isn't it? From a dingy call center to the offspring of a high-ranking intelligence official, the corruption just keeps escalating. Verona, connecting the dots from Westwild and now the news of Cho's company being compromised, starts to understand the true scope of the conspiracy. Her investigations hit brick walls, internal resistance from within the FBI, political pressure from above. Her colleagues are hesitant, wary of stepping on powerful toes. The hushed conversations in the break room, the sudden silence when she approaches, the subtle eye rolls, it all tells a story of an organization afraid to rock the boat. She realizes that Clay is moving with a speed and freedom that she, bound by rules and regulations, can only dream of. The constant buzz of her phone with missed calls from her increasingly frustrated boss, the rustle of internal memos warning her to back off, only fuel her determination. We're then introduced to Derek Danforth, a character who embodies everything wrong with inherited privilege. He's a smug, entitled brat who runs this entire multi-layered scam from a luxurious, heavily fortified estate, all while playing the part of a successful tech entrepreneur. His operation is vast, sophisticated, and protected by an array of private security forces, many of whom are ex-military, loyal only to him and his mother's influence. The clinking of ice in his expensive cocktail, the low, contemptuous laugh, the ostentatious display of wealth, he's the picture of untouchable arrogance. Before Clay reaches Danforth, he has a meeting, a rather cryptic one, with the current Beekeeper leader, a man named Lazarus. This happens in a surprisingly unassuming location, perhaps a hidden cabin deep in the woods, or a discreet, unmarked building. Lazarus is an older, distinguished gentleman, his voice calm and authoritative, his eyes holding the wisdom of countless battles fought in the shadows. He explains the Beekeeper protocol in more detail. They are the last line of defense, the ones who operate when the regular systems fail, when corruption has metastasized to the point that it threatens the hive itself. "We protect the hive," he intones, his voice grave, "from those who would prey upon it." He outlines the strict code, the absolute nature of their mission. It's a solemn reminder of the immense power Clay wields and the heavy burden he carries. The rustle of leaves outside, the distant call of a bird, nature's calm contrasting with the serious discussion of global order and extreme measures. Armed with this renewed sense of purpose, Clay prepares for the final assault on Derek Danforth's estate. It's not just a house, it's a fortress, complete with high walls, advanced surveillance, and an army of mercenaries. The air is thick with anticipation, the quiet before the storm. Clay knows this will be his toughest challenge yet. He studies blueprints, monitors security feeds, and plans his approach with meticulous detail. Every click of his mouse on the digital map, every soft whisper of his breath is part of a deadly symphony. The assault begins during a lavish political fundraiser hosted by Derek and his mother, Jessica Danforth, a former CIA director and a woman of immense power and influence. The estate is abuzz with activity, the elegant strains of classical music drifting from inside, the clinking of champagne glasses, the low murmur of important conversations. Expensive cars line the driveway, their headlights cutting through the growing dusk. Clay breaches the perimeter with explosive force, literally. The distant thump of a small, precise charge on the outer wall, followed by the metallic shriek of metal tearing. Alarms blare, a piercing, insistent wail that cuts through the polite chatter. Chaos erupts. The guards, initially stunned, quickly mobilize, their shouts echoing across the manicured lawns. Inside, the party guests panic, scattering like startled birds, their expensive shoes clattering on the marble floors. Verona, having tracked Clay to the estate, also infiltrates the property, her service pistol drawn, her eyes scanning for Clay amidst the swirling pandemonium. She's caught between her duty to apprehend him and her desire to see justice served for her mother. The crackle of her walkie-talkie, the urgent shouts of her FBI colleagues are a constant reminder of her divided loyalties. Clay moves through the estate like a force of nature, a one-man army carving a path of destruction. He engages Derek's elite security forces in a series of incredibly choreographed, brutal skirmishes. Punches connect with bone-jarring force, the sickening crack of ribs, the wet thud of bodies hitting walls. Gunshots erupt, the sharp pop-pop-pop echoing through the lavish halls. Ceramic vases exploding into dust, expensive paintings shredded. Clay uses everything at his disposal. A priceless antique sword becomes a deadly extension of his arm, its whish through the air preceding a swift cut. A marble statue is toppled, crashing down onto an unsuspecting guard. A decorative fountain is used to electrocute another, the loud zzz of electricity sparking through the water. He's not just fighting, he's demolishing. One particularly memorable showdown involves Clay facing off against several ex-Special Forces operatives in a narrow, art-filled hallway. The thwack of Clay's fist connecting with a guard's jaw sends the man sprawling, his weapon clattering across the polished floor. Another guard lunges with a knife, the shing of the blade glinting under the opulent chandeliers. But Clay parries with a surprising agility, twisting the blade away and using the man's own momentum to slam him into a display cabinet, the crash of breaking glass. It's an unrelenting barrage of calculated violence, each move designed to incapacitate, to eliminate. Verona finally confronts Clay in a tense standoff. Her pistol is raised, her voice firm, demanding he surrender. But Clay is resolute, his eyes conveying an unshakable determination. He explains, calmly but firmly, that the system has failed, that men like Danforth are untouchable through normal means. She sees the truth in his words, the profound failure of the institutions she serves. The low thrum of her own heartbeat, the muffled shouts of the approaching security create an almost unbearable tension. He continues his relentless pursuit of Derek. Derek, a sniveling coward at heart, tries to flee, scrambling through secret passages and hidden rooms, his panicked gasps and the frantic scramble of his feet a stark contrast to Clay's methodical advance. The climax arrives when Clay finally corners Derek in a panic room. Derek, still clinging to his arrogance, tries to reason, to bribe, to threaten. But Clay is immune to all of it. He delivers a chilling monologue about the sanctity of the hive and the role of the beekeeper in culling the diseased. The silence in the room is absolute, broken only by Derek's increasingly desperate high-pitched pleas. Clay, with a cold, almost surgical precision, delivers the final, decisive blow, a brutal, satisfying end to the architect of so much suffering. The muffled thud of Derek hitting the reinforced floor. Poetic justice, wrapped in a very large, violent bow.
But the story isn't over. Jessica Danforth, Derek's mother and the former CIA director, makes her appearance. She's a formidable opponent, not physically, but with the power of her position and her sharp intellect. She tries to use her influence, her past connections, even attempts to appeal to a perceived sense of patriotism. She orders Clay to stand down, her voice cold and authoritative, her security detail positioning themselves, weapons raised, the metallic click of their safeties disengaging. However, Clay is not deterred. He sees her as part of the problem, the root of the corruption that allowed her son to operate with impunity. He recognizes that she is the queen bee of this particular hive of villains. He delivers his own scathing indictment of her and the broken system she represents. In a final, tense confrontation, Clay manages to disarm her security, leaving her exposed, the clatter of their weapons echoing in the tense silence. He doesn't kill her, but he makes it clear that her reign of unchecked power is over. He delivers a warning, a promise that the beekeepers are watching, always. He leaves her with her reputation in tatters, her power dismantled, a fate perhaps worse than death for someone so used to being untouchable. The low murmur of the emergency services, the distant wail of sirens, slowly approach the devastated estate. Clay makes his escape into the night, vanishing as swiftly and silently as he appeared, a ghost returning to the shadows, leaving behind a trail of mayhem and a system thoroughly shaken to its core. The sound of his fast-moving vehicle, a distant whoosh as it speeds away. Verona, watching him go, doesn't pursue. She understands. She stands amidst the wreckage, the flashing blue and red lights of emergency vehicles painting the scene with an eerie glow, the air still thick with the smell of smoke and gunpowder. She realizes that while Clay's methods are extreme, he targeted the parts of the system that were beyond her reach, beyond the law. Her journey from grieving daughter to pursuing agent has led her to a grudging respect, perhaps even an understanding of the beekeeper's purpose. She knows that some problems require unconventional solutions, and that sometimes a little controlled chaos is necessary to reset the balance.
As the dust settles and the echoes of the chaos begin to fade, one can't help but ponder the thin line between justice and vengeance and the unseen forces that operate beyond our understanding. The story of Adam Clay, the beekeeper, reminds us that even in the most organized and seemingly secure systems, there are always those who tend to the delicate balance, prepared to prune the diseased branches to protect the health of the entire hive. His journey, fueled by the simplest act of neighborly care, escalated into a war against deep-seated corruption, demonstrating that even the quietest among us can possess a dormant strength, a profound capability to right wrongs when pushed to their limits. It's a powerful narrative about finding one's purpose in the face of injustice and refusing to stand idly by. The Beekeeper is an absolute blast of an action movie, delivering exactly what it promises: relentless, over-the-top violence for a righteous cause. Jason Statham is in peak form, a silent, deadly force of nature, and the film does not skimp on the inventive kills and explosions. It's a cathartic power fantasy that makes you want to check your bank account and maybe reconsider